Hello, I'm Robert Lomas, and this is the 11th of 17 episodes of a work called 10 Nights in the Black Lion, which was written by the novelist Daniel Owen in 1859. It was originally written as a serial in a magazine called Charles of Bala, which had been produced by his friend Nathaniel Jones, but was now edited by John Davis. The standard of copy editing in this episode was not as good as previous episodes. Most of the body of the text was in direct speech, but had no punctuation marks. I had to insert the quotation marks to make it easier to read. This was the first episode Daniel had submitted since Nathaniel Jones had left the editorship, and it seems the new editor was not devoting much effort to the quality of presentation of the content. This 11th episode was published on August 11th, 1859. Episode 11. The Sixth Evening. The innkeeper did not make his appearance the following morning until 10 o'clock, and he looked like a man coming back from damnation. It was another hour before Harvey Green came down. There was nothing unusual about his appearance. He was clean-shaved, had on a clean shirt, and every line in his face was calm and still. He looked as if he had slept agreeably, with a quiet conscience, and was ready to welcome the new morning with a cheerful spirit. Slade's first act had been to go behind the bar to pour and drink a strong glass of brandy and water. When Green appeared, he ordered a coffee to be followed with a beefsteak. I couldn't help noticing the difference in the appearance of the two men. Slade was aggressive and confused, while Green presented an impression of prudence and hypocrisy. The two men were obviously trying to hide some displeasure between them, as they spoke politely to each other, but they soon separated to conceal their feelings. I didn't see them to speak to, or meet them again during the day. I was sitting in the bar-room later in the afternoon, when a gentleman who spoke with the manner of a lawyer sitting in his office announced to the room, "There's trouble over at the mill." "Ah, what's the matter?" asked one. "It has suffered a considerable financial loss," the gentleman said. "How so? What's that?" "Willie." "Is the loss big?" "They say it is, many thousands, but this is people's talk, and of course they will exaggerate," the gentleman said. "No doubt. That seems too much to believe. Where's the money gone? How could Willie spend so much? It's true he tosses money around buying fast horses and drinking heavily, but he couldn't spend many thousands like that." At that moment, Willie's beautiful horse sped past, pulling a light carriage, but with a different man driving it. "Was that young Hammond and his 60-pound horse?" asked the last speaker. "It was Willie's yesterday, but today it has a new owner," the gentleman said. "Is that so?" "Yes, it is, and that man Green, who's been wandering around Cedarville for the last few years, looking for a good profit, I believe, came into possession of it today," the gentleman confirmed. "Ah, Willie must be a frivolous one. Is he tired of his favourite horse already?" "No, there's something darker about this. I saw Judge Hammond this morning, and he was very annoyed," the gentleman said. "Perhaps the confusion at the mill accounts for that." "True, but there are other things beside the mill involved in this darkness." "His son's extravagance," said another. "That's enough to crush a father's spirit and put him into his grave." "To speak plainly," I replied, "I am afraid that the young man has added another evil to tyranny and laziness." "What?" the other said. "Gambling," I said. "Impossible." "It's all true, and I think his great horse, for which he paid £60, fell into Green's hands to pay off the debt he owed from the gambling table," I said. "You surprise me. Are there enough reasons to believe such a thing?" the gentleman said. "I have, I am sorry to say, the strongest reasons for my claim. Green is a professional gambler, who was attracted here by the wealthy company who attend the Black Lion. This is an undeniable fact. Knowing this, and considering that Hammond had been socializing with him a lot, then you can easily see the cause of all this trouble," I said. "If these things are so," observed the gentleman, "it's only part of what seems to be a matter of great concern. Willie Hammond may not be the only one who has been destroyed." "You can be sure of that. If the rumours are true, others among your most promising young men have been drawn into this diabolical morass, I said. To confirm this, I told them about the dialogue I had had with Slade's barroom attendees on this subject. I told them what I had seen the previous evening. During our conversation, the drinker sat still in his chair, but as I told this sad tale, he became agitated, jumped to his feet and shouted, "Great heavens! I never dreamed of this! Whose sons are safe?" "No one's sons," replied the first official-sounding gentleman by whom I was sitting. "No one's sons, while such doors as the Black Lion's are open to oblivion." "But didn't you all vote against temperance at the last election?" I asked. "Yes," they replied, "but on principle." "And on what were your principles based?" I asked. "On the solid foundations of personal freedom," they insisted. "The freedom to do good or bad as the person chooses," I said. "I wish I didn't have to say this, but there are particular evils against which no laws are made that do much damage." "But the state has no right to tell a man what he might eat or drink," one drinker insisted. "But cannot the people of any country pass laws through their representatives to prevent wicked men from harming the general good?" I said. "Oh, certainly they can, very sure." "Well, are you prepared to say that the pubs in which young men are corrupted and where body and soul are destroyed do not harm the general good?" I asked. "Ah, but we must have public houses and hotels," they insisted. "Nobody denies that. But if hotels are indispensable to receive travellers, why is it necessary to allow those elements that destroy men to be sold in such places?" I said. "Yes, but it goes too far to make a law about what a man may eat and drink. It opens a door to widespread oppression. We must teach our children about the evil of drunkenness. If we do our duty towards our children, then we will get rid of all bar-rooms soon," others insisted. "Oh, my friends, your advice will be of little value if you place temptation in your children's way every step of their life. Thousands have already been ruined. Your sons are not safe. Neither are mine. It is not safe for us to tolerate such temptations. Oh, sir, while you talk about preventing floods that might devastate our country, the waters are rising near our own doors," one fellow said. The last sentence, spoken sharply and forcefully, had raised a look of concern on another old fellow's face. "What do you think?" he asked. "Only that your sons are as vulnerable to danger as any others," I said. "Is that all?" "Well, they were certainly spotted drinking in the Black Lion bar-room," one of the company said. "Who says so?" "Twice in a week I saw them going there," another replied. "Great heavens, no!" "It's true, my friend. But who is safe? If we dig pits and hide them out of sight, why should we wonder if our own children fall into them?" I said. "My sons going to a pub?" The old fellow appeared confused. "How can I believe such a thing? You must be mistaken, sir." "I'm not mistaken, sir. I'm sure of it. And if they are there," the other man said. The man did not wait for him to finish the sentence before he rushed out of the bar-room. "We are beginning to reap the fruits of our ideas," the gentleman said as his frightened friend rushed away. "Things are adjusting and turning out as I warned him they would in the beginning. Things are adjusting and turning out as I warned him they would in the beginning. There was nothing he wanted more than to establish a great pub in Cedarville, and when Simon Slade opened the Black Lion, no one praised the adventure more than the old fellow who has just left us. Indeed, in the beginning it seemed that Simon Slade wanted to treat everyone as gentlemen, but that goodness is nothing, indeed less than nothing, in comparison to the evil the opening of this pub has created." I completely agreed with what he said, as I had seen myself enough of the assembly to fully legitimize his words. As I sat in the Black Lion bar-room later that evening, shortly after the lamps were lit, I noticed that a son of the gentleman referred to in the above speech, one of the accursed bar visitors, slip in silently and look anxiously round the room. He didn't speak to anyone, but having satisfied himself that those he was looking for were not present, he went out. "What brought him here, I wonder?" Slade asked Matthew, the barkeeper. "After the boys, I should think," Matthew replied. "I think the boys are old enough to take care of themselves." "They should be," said Matthew. "They are," said Slade. Were they here tonight? No, not yet. While they were talking, the two young men I had seen the previous evening came in. I noticed they were of a standard of talented and noble appearance well above the ordinary barroom customers. "John," I heard Simon say to one of them, "your old man was here earlier." "No," said the young man, sounding surprised. Yes, for sure. Better watch out." "What did he want?" "He didn't seem to want anything." "What did he say?" "He said nothing. He came in, looked around and went out. He looked very angry," said Matthew. "Is room number 4 empty?" asked the young man. "Yes, it is." "Send me up a bottle of wine and some cigars, and when Bill Harding and Harry Lee come in here, tell them where we are." "That's fine," said Matthew. The two young men left the room hurriedly. They had only just gone when I saw the worried old fellow come in again. He looked excitedly around the room, but seemed disappointed. As he came in, Slade went out. "Have John Wilson and his friends been here tonight?" he asked, coming up to the bar and greeting Matthew. "They're not here," replied Matthew. "But were they here?" "They might have been here. I only just came from my supper. I thought I saw them coming in just a couple of minutes ago." "They're not here, sir." Matthew spoke candidly, shaking his head. "Where's Mr. Slade?" "Somewhere in the house. I would like you to ask him to come here." Matthew went out, but soon returned, saying that Slade couldn't be found. "Are you sure the boys aren't here?" said the man suspiciously. "Look for yourself, Mr. Harrison. Maybe they've gone in the parlour." "Go in, sir," replied Matthew without hesitation. The man went through the door to the parlour, but soon returned. "Not there?" asked Matthew. The man shook his head. "I don't think you'll find them around here," the barkeeper added. That's the end of the 11th episode of 10 Nights in the Black Lion, written by Daniel Owen. It was first published in the magazine Charles of Bala on August the 11th, 1859. I'm Robert Lomas, and I spent the last year translating this. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please click the subscribe box in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen.